And not only we're lucky enough to be hearing you're playing these concerts, we're going to hear some music that you've written as well. In this extraordinary piece you wrote for cello and orchestra, Into the Wilderness.
The Loneliest Wilderness.
Sorry, The Loneliest Wilderness.
Yeah.
I heard that today. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Where was the inspiration for that piece? How did that come about?
Oh, it's a sort of long story. I wrote a lot of music for the first 20 years of my life. In fact, when I was at Chet's, I studied with the conductor whom you heard me with in Manchester. Yeah. He taught me composition as well as some other people there. And then once I started playing, I was about 20, 21, I stopped writing really, except for little encore pieces, transcriptions, things like that. And gradually, it was when I was about 40 that I started writing music again. And this was my first major piece after having not written anything for 20 years. Wow. So this is already 10 years old, this piece. And it came about because I'd written a little piece in memory of one of my composition teachers, Douglas Steele, who taught at Chet's at the time. He died, and it was a concert in his memory. And I wrote this piece for recorder for the person who was arranging the concert, John Turner. You might have come across John Turner in Manchester. And the bassoon player of the Halley Orchestra heard this piece, and he rather astonishingly said, "Well, would you write me a concerto for bassoon?" And I thought, well, I haven't written anything for 20 years really, but well, that's an interesting idea. Okay, and I started having some ideas. And this is the piece. It began as a bassoon concerto for him. And as I was writing it, I kept thinking, gosh, this would really sound better on cello.
It works beautifully for cello.
Because the bassoon, it's not really enough of a solo instrument, however well you play it. And actually we have a wonderful bassoon player this week, as I was saying before. And also the whole orchestration you simply couldn't do, even in this piece. I think there are moments when the orchestra's quite big for the cello. So that's how the piece started, and then Stephen Islis gave the premiere of it, with me conducting it actually, which was
you're a conductor as well.
No. This was my first experience conducting. It was a very foolhardy thing. I had never stood in front of an orchestra, even at school, once. And here I was with a whole concert to do in Liverpool with this piece. It was a challenge, and I break out into a cold sweat. It's frightening, isn't it? I mean, even if you're really experienced, like you are, to stand for the first time in front of a new orchestra, there's always that moment of,
it's like a date. You're on a first date and you're a bit nervous and you don't know. Yeah. And what I find with the piece is that it doesn't surprise me that you're a poet as well. You're a polymath, and one of your things that you do is you write poetry.
In other words,
And I can hear this poetry in this piece. There are beautifully crafted sentences that form into paragraphs, and it's really wonderful.
Well, it was based. In fact, I wrote this song setting of a poem by Herbert Reed, and one of the lines in the poem is "Loneliest Wilderness," which is why it's called that. And so that's the latter part of the piece, and I actually set. So I used that song setting as the thematic basis for this work, and changed it a lot and so on. But that's where it all came from. And actually, a few cellists now have played it, and
so it's beautiful.
Nice to.
I shall tell everyone about it. Now I've heard.
Thanks.